Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video we're going through the Richmond versus Carlton game, in which Carlton, it was a close game in the end, until the last quarter or so, as Carlton just blew them away. Let's just check here the quarter by quarter, as the halftime it was only a 12-point margin, and then in the second half there was a 7-goal to 1 quarter and then a 6-goal to 3 quarter. So they put on 13 goals to 4 after halftime, and that really blew the game open. 26 points to 13 goals. 3 is 81. So 81 to 26 second half is always going to blow the margin out. And Carlton ended up winning by 61 points, 131 to 70, in what was a good scoring contest, I guess, which is nice to see after a couple of low-scoring games, especially in the previous recap with the Port Adelaide versus St Kilda game. But anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into this video. So, Nankervis, with the late out of or management of Tom de Koning, it really opened up Nankervis to go large, and you thought he would go large with a 107, but he really just dominated in the first half, and then in the second half he did nothing. So he ended up only a 1-2-1 in Supercoach, as well, as I think his points tally sort of got maybe taken aback a little bit. I thought he would be a lot more dominant in this game with 43 hit-outs, 17 touches, 2 marks, 3 tackles. Doesn't really get the non-disposal work to do it, and also the 4 free kicks, 3 against doesn't really help him. Well, that's a -5 split. Does kick a goal to sort of negate the free kick differential, but I thought he'd do better considering the matchup. Hopper, 98, 23, 31, 27, 17. Really doesn't. He's going to do these in some games, but then again, he's going to pop his hamstring, so don't even bother there. Rioli with a 96. He's going to do this in some games again. These type of guys, I wouldn't be jumping on them at all, because they're 600 to 700k for a reason. Especially these guys that are either injury prone or just have like even Nick Blakey, Daniel Rioli. These guys all fall under Ollie Florent. Who else? Even to a certain extent, Jake Lloyd. Looking over at Carlton, is there anyone here that could sort of, even Zach Williams when he was at the fullback point, Adam Sard, another guy that falls under that category. But Matt Kennedy, or is it Matt? I think it is. They all fall under the same point of that they're going to score. Some games they're going to have big games, but some games also that they're not going to have the best games, and even to the point that Matt Kennedy was ruled out with an injury at one point in this game, so we'll be on the lookout for that. But yeah, just all of these guys not really scoring. I thought Taranto would. Got on top in the first quarter, and then for the last little bit of the first didn't do anything. And then in the second quarter he had, you can just see here, he didn't score anything for the last sort of part of the first quarter. There. And then second quarter he got off pretty early, because you can see there that second quarter starts there, but he didn't score for the last 6-7 minutes of the first. Got away pretty early in the second, and then was on the bench for quite a while of the second. Was that 8 minutes of the second, and then got going again in the third. But again, he just fallen short, a 90-odd, so I'm glad that they didn't end up picking him up. I thought he was a guy that we'd look at post-buy. I've been saying that for sort of all the buys, but in the end, not a guy worthy to be picked up. Floston, 80, 27, 8, 35, 10, so sort of just not really relevant. McIntosh, Kazitsky, Mansell, Ralph Smith, Sonzi, Miller, Baker as well, 59. An interesting one to look at there, as 59 is just not going to be relevant, and I thought he'd be one that really kicks on, but again, I think it was maybe pre-season hope that he'd get that really good role and he'd score really well, whereas Baker just I don't think is that good of a fantasy prospect, whether he plays forward, midfield, defender. He just doesn't score. He has very up and down games. He's very in it and out of it, and you can see here, 113, 105, 113, 92, at 46 in here, DMPs, 112, 99, like he was going well in this patch, and then drops, what did he end up dropping? 59 in the end. So yeah, just up and down. I thought Bolton really on top early. Maybe I just clicked him for the second half of that or something, because I thought he was really dominant early, and then, but nope. was the third quarter that he really got on top. So maybe I was thinking about the third quarter when he just started absolutely. He got a lot very, very quickly. Or maybe I was just looking at this portion here or something. I don't know what I was looking at, to be honest with you. I'm trying to find a stint where he did really well. Maybe it was this where he just did a little bit, but even that's not much of the ball. So yeah, trying to find where he actually did quite a lot. Maybe it was this section here that I zoned in on and actually watched the Richmond Carlton game. Maybe that's the section I was talking about, where he had only 3 touches in that span. Actually, now looking at it, so not really that much, to be honest with you. I thought he was more impactful than that. But anyway, moving on. Maybe I was just forgetting something, given that it is now the Tuesday and this was on the Sunday, so I'm probably forgetting something. Short as well. Again, really, really weird to see Short and Baker and Bolton, all these guys not really scoring. So yeah, I'm just wondering about that. With Short there, 15, 12, 7, 19. Whether the team's taking a new direction, he's just not going to be involved too much because, yeah, it's his price. Wow. He's going to be so cheap next year. What's he gets priced at? 77. So, yeah, if he gets any lower, there will start to be calls to maybe he can improve on it because of historical value. But, yeah, I'm just worried about necessarily his role. He does have 11 here where he was subbed out early, which is probably going to help his cause a little bit to be selected next year if he can stay injury free, but a lot of 70 games sort of show that is his average, I guess, or his common game. Broad, Blight, Brown, McAuliffe, 26, wondering when he gets the role necessarily to play, as he averages 40 now for the year. So it will just be interesting to see when he starts to get what's he averaging for the year? I believe it's 40, but I will double check that. 38. So if he gets any lower with him being sub a couple times, etc., I think he's a guy that can average sort of 60, 65, but you're not going to pick him up at like 35 if he's going to do that. So he'd really have to get back to almost basement price, which for next year, for 2025, which I just don't think is possible. Campbell, Banks, and Martin. Banks was the guy that I was very high on in preseason, but that he could take the next step, but he doesn't look like he will do that. 17, he's been heavily impacted by the sub, but 17, let's look at his average for the year, 34. So if he maybe can get a full-time role, maybe that's the case, but I don't know if he necessarily will. He'd have to have stuff open up, I think, to get a better role. Nick Newman, 143. I think tempted about this necessarily. It will be interesting to see how this goes because I don't think they have another game against the Swans where even he went 118 against the Swans. So he's the type of guy that really props up at the end of the year. 41, 45, 41, 41, 45, and then 16 in the last. So it will be interesting to see how this tracks. I'm tempted just because he's a guy that can go pop 120s, 130s very, very easily. I'm just worried. I'd have to look into it a little bit more, but I'll do that on my trade targets video on the Thursday. But yeah, he's definitely one to look at. Sam Walsh, I'm so annoyed that I didn't go for it. Yeah, he's just one that is really, really good. And yeah, I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't grab him over like a Zorko or something like that, as he's one that I'm heavily considering this week. If I do go the route of just an upgrade, one up, one down, he's one that I am definitely considering. There is another plan that I have in place a little bit in case Fisher is out injured, which I don't think he will be, but also in case Chris loses his role, I have another plan in place. But it will probably be either a Dunkley or Walsh that I do end up grabbing, as they are just tearing it up at the moment, and I was just completely wrong on Walsh. Paddy Cripps, a 129. I don't think he's going to be too fantasy relevant, to be honest with you. He's still averaging like 100, even though he's putting up 40 games. So it's a really weird conundrum where he's putting up a lot of points. A lot of disposals, but not many points. But yeah, he was just so impactful. He's probably, I think I have him tied with Heaney and Dacos for the Brownlow, but he's one that could easily win it. Absolutely easily win it with the way he's playing at the moment. He's just putting up 3 voter after 3 voter. And if Carlton keep on winning, he's going to probably win it and probably deserves it more this year. I think so. He's just playing a lot. One of the best in the comp, and I think Heaney's fallen off a little bit. Dacos is doing Dacos things, but I think Paddy Cripps is one that's a little bit harder to tag in general. So he's probably going to win it in the end. Kennedy, Akersard, Hollins, Mackay, Chera. He subbed out in an 80. Don't know what happened there. Fantasia, Cowan, Pitnet, McGovern, Fogarty, Williams. None of these guys really matter. There's no rookies coming through, which really matter too much. And I wouldn't be touching anyone outside of Walsh, Cripps, and Newman, to be honest with you, just because they don't really score consistently enough, I would think. Akers, a 92 average for the year, is probably the highest guy out of all those remaining guys. But yeah, Newman, Walsh, and Cripps are the only guys from Carlton I would be looking at, and Taranto is basically the only guy from Richmond. So only about 4 guys to really look at. There's no rookies, and there's no really future prospects, to be honest, that really outlandishly change or be in our starter sides for 2025, I don't think. Maybe Cripps, just because he's going to be priced at like a 102, 103, and he takes the next step towards that sort of 110, 112 again. But other than that, I don't think there'll be anyone to really look at in Carlton or Richmond for 2025. But that's the video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the last recap, as well as my team recap for the round for fantasy. So I'll see you guys in that video. Bye, guys.